Good morning. I had a goal. We're starting quick. Coming in hot. So every single podcast or every single episode, I always start with good morning. And it's quite literally, it sends chills up my own spine. So
you go back and watch, like, ooh, nope.
Ooh, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, So I was making a very conscious effort. I thought about this last night for a bit. I'm like, when I welcome to the Medicare Cafe, when I welcome my internet friends, I can't go good morning like a 2013 YouTube star. I gotta come in like the adult and professional that I am. So howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Medicare
goal.
Welcome to the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. If you're watching the recorded version of this and you don't want the chaos, you just went straight to the facts about how to prep for AEP in quarter 2, then just fast forward a couple minutes. If you're like me and here for the chaos, welcome and enjoy the ride.
Good morning.
Good morning. So something I'm really disappointed about. So it used to be whenever we used to do Medicare Cafe on a webinar platform, obviously now it's YouTube Live. When it used to be a webinar platform, I used to be able to sneak start it.
Sneak start it?
Yeah, so I would be able whenever, because before you guys don't get this fun, juicy information anymore. We were kind of I was checking my eyebrows, checking our face, we're doing stuff. I used to be able to start it without people knowing it was started. So it'd start the episode with people just checking themselves, right? Now I have to go through a freaking 9-step process. There's a code. Bruce Willis is in an air vent somewhere to try to get this thing started. I don't know. Were there codes in Die Hard? Die Hard?
Yeah, it's Die Hard.
That's the Christmas one.
It is a Christmas movie, yes.
What was the movie with Mel Gibson and he was Scottish and he wore kilt?
Braveheart?
Braveheart? Braveheart.
Yes.
Not the same.
No, those are two very different movies.
I get
aggressively different.
I get them confused. Which one's Die Hard? Which one's Braveheart?
Half blue face.
Braveheart.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I understand the movies are different.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I didn't know.
Die Hard.
Is that from Die Hard?
Oh my god. Yes, it's from Die Hard. Please, somebody else make fun of her for this.
Judith, breathe. Listen. Welcome, guys. Excited. One thing I'm excited about, no one's asking, I get to go to Nashville this weekend. Well, this weekend I'm leaving Thursday, and I have my cow nails. These are cow nails. Got them ready to go. I'm excited. It's my 5th year going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In a row. Mine is 2020 because of reasons.
Doesn't count.
I had my son that year. That wasn't the reason. Clayton, what have you been up to? It's been a while since you've seen me on the cafe.
A lot.
It's 10 o'clock. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe. I'm just kidding.
A lot.
Just kidding. Do you have anything fun? Anything?
Aubrey started sports.
Aubrey did start sports.
Aubrey started soccer.
If you can consider, I don't want to get canceled.
That's why I said sports.
Soccer is for sure a sport.
It's the most adorable little thing. I'll post pictures somewhere.
Oh, I would love that. It is really cute. That's the only way I want to watch soccer is if I'm watching children do it.
Yeah, for sure.
I just can't understand the hype. You can tie in soccer.
You can tie in soccer. You can tie in a lot of sports.
Not professionally.
NFL.
No, and then they have a tiebreaker.
They have one, and then you can still tie.
You cannot tie at the end of a football game. You can end the season 4-7-1.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time.
We'll get into it later.
Welcome to the Medicare Cafe. You're joined by your host today. My name is Olivia Richardson.
Shout out, Sean.
Sean, no one asked you.
Thanks,
Brian, also no one, I may have directly asked you, but no. What's your name? Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Clayton.
It's fine.
He's fine. He's an okay guy.
Today, what I wanted to talk about was prepping for AEP during quarter 2. What does the girl bring to the show? Charisma, Brian. I bring sass and charisma and sometimes a witty joke. Speaking of which, simmer down, Brian. Well, simmer down. So why are we talking about AEP prep during quarter 2? Well, the number one thing is that if you only plan for AEP in September, you're going to have a bad time. AEP, though, the enrollment period for AEP lasts about 8 weeks. AEP and making sure you're successful at it is a 52-week process. Not to be dramatic.
No, that's totally right.
Gotcha.
No, it's honestly it's something that we talk about internally as we start prepping for AEP in quarter 3, and that's a lie because we are prepping for it all year just in-house here. I can't imagine it being, as an agent, that being such an impactful to not just your income, to all of your business throughout the year. And I know one of the points that you had on here too was it to not rely on that being your only source of income.
Yeah.
But with it being such a big chunk, because it's still going to be a chunk, we're not like discrediting that. What we're trying to say is, how can you make sure the rest of the year goes properly? Like, what should be doing, how you should be planning for your other things leading into it.
October 1st, and furthermore, October 15th.
Fierce.
October 1st. It's very stressful. Can be very complicated. Do I sound like I'm from the Addams Family?
Now
Can be very complicated. My goal for our AEP this year, and I would extend that to agents, is to make it to where you walk in talk AEP. You walk in. You've done so much work. You stretch the amount of work it takes to be successful. You stretch it across 365 days so that when you walk into your office October 1st, you take that first step October 15th, you are walking into that success. So again, let's talk about things that you should be doing today. You should be doing over the next 3 months to make sure that AEP is a cakewalk. Thank you. Number 1. Collecting update. Wait a second. You told me you didn't read the slides.
I did.
Oh, you lied to me. Collecting and updating emails. This is something that I think is really important. We're kind of seeing a shift in the industry. I mean, to be fair, I say we saw a shift in the industry a couple years ago, where I understand agents do not want to give email addresses to the carriers because, like, you're asking the carriers to then advertise to your agents, right? If you put their email address on the application, the carriers are going to use that and advertise to them. So I understand that. But it is incredibly important for you to make sure you have your clients' email addresses. And I think furthermore, teaching them that, like, I'm not email you spam. If I email you something, it is in your interest to open that email and read it. So training them that, like, your information is valuable during this time period.
For sure. And the newsletters is a big part of that because you want to make sure you're having those touch points throughout the year. I know you've heard us say it 1,000 times, but we'll say it one more. That 7 touch points throughout the year is that kind of perfect number. And a quarterly email takes care of 4 of those for you. So it's very important for you to stay in front of your clients via your newsletter. And there's also different marketing opportunities that you could send them. And like Olivia was saying, like, it's not spam. It's not always going to be something salesy, but to inform them of other product lines you offer, other ancillary products that you want to make sure that they know that they have options to get covered for. I wouldn't consider that spammy.
Right. No,
it's very, very important information that they need to know. So making sure that you have that accurate email on file, because if your parents or the grandparents, seniors that you're working with are anything like my parents, one, my dad doesn't use email.
First of all, George is a saint.
George is a saint. We'll just say that 1,000 times too now. But my mom has changed her email about 3 or 4 times over the course of a few years. That's a really good point that people don't talk about it. Keep going. Let them cook. So she does that because she loses her password.
And so she just makes a whole new email?
Oh,
I love boomer math.
She's like, all right, well,
there's
that one...
girl math, boy math, boomer math.
So she'll literally make a new one because she's like, well, that one gets hit with spam all the time. I'm like, stop giving your email to every company that asks for it. And it wouldn't be that way. But she'll still give old emails as that kind of spam for the discount. But she'll make a new email for her actual email.
Listen. Georgia, she's got the system beat. So, and again, the biggest thing is that during AEP, the easiest, fastest way to communicate, most efficient way to communicate with your clients are via emails, because you can do mass emails and send it to them. But if they're not opening, not reading, or not receiving your emails, then it's honestly a waste of time. So training them now to communicate with you that way, going to save you a lot of time come October. For
sure. And that could be just conversation point with them too, so they understand, like, hey, I don't really do email very often. Be like, okay, well, I want you to check. I'll send one out every quarter. It's typically around this time of the month. Like, if they know when to check, even if they're not an email checker, that can kind of train them as well to at least hop on there.
I like that. That's a good one. You're doing good. Doing good. Let them cook. Number 3. That's slide 3. For you guys, this is just point number 2. Find new networking partners.
We didn't say something on the last slide.
What did we not say?
Go to your social media page. Get them to like it.
Oh, that's such a good point. I'm glad I made it. Go to your social media, get them to interact with your social media, build your following, make sure you're staying in front of them via Facebook.
Something I really like for that is get a QR code. There's generators everywhere. Get it, put it on your desk or something like that so they can just scan it while they're there.
That's such a great idea. It's such a great idea. There's also one that like QR codes to your Google reviews and say like, leave me a review and I'll set you, put you in a drawing to win something. Here's a QR code. The easier you make it, the more we'll yeah. Anyways, so
I thought you had something there.
I was gonna like build it and they will come reference, but it just didn't
make it. Nope.
Anyways, so again, making sure that you are finding networking partners right now, and the biggest thing like that is you have to make sure that you build a really strong relationship off of consistency and familiarity. That's how networking partners work, being consistent, being familiar with them. You need a bit of a runway with that partner to build that relationship in order to really see anything come out of it in quarter 4. So knowing that these partners, everybody, quarter 4 is crazy for everybody, right? It's not just us, even though it feels like it, and there's a lot of reasons why it would be. So making sure that you're taking now to meet new people, introduce yourself to those people, start finding that common ground and building that familiarity so that come AEP, you are the obvious choice, especially if you guys are working with the same demographic, looking at pharmacists, elder law lawyers, looking at financial planners, people who are meeting with people at the end of the year.
Elder law lawyers is something I've never suggested, and I don't know why.
Oh, really? It's a go-to for me. I was working with an agency.
Thanks for sharing.
Sorry, it's kind of... Now I feel bad. You clearly don't watch any of my videos.
Never.
But it is one that like we see a lot. That was actually where one of the candy dishes ideas started. Was that a person put a candy dish in an elder law lawyer's office, and because there's a lot of people who work there, the receptionists, paralegals, things like that. So they would go in every week and refill that candy dish to where like the lawyer was the last person that they actually met with. They met with the front desk person, the paralegals, and it wasn't because they were doing anything for them. They were there constantly. That familiarity built a relationship to where, like, if the office staff is on board, the person running the show, in this case was the lawyers, was basically like, yeah, they were an afterthought because the entire office loved this agent.
Dang, that's really good. I've heard that story. I just don't remember it being. I left out the most important part of who did that.
Sometimes you forget that everything I say is gold.
I can't keep track of all the gold.
I get it. No, I understand. It's hard for me, too.
Yeah, the burden you carry.
Learning what works, learning what doesn't. I think the theme of quarter 2 is just like trying new things because you can afford to fail at new things right now. You're not your budget and your time can afford to see what doesn't work, which is what I kind of get into with trying the new marketing techniques as well. So just knowing that this year is going to look a lot different compared to what we've seen in the past.
For sure. And on that kind of trial and error part, it's that test it out for 3 months, measure, repeat. But it's also making sure you have multiple avenues that you're trying at the same time. The 3-prong technique is kind of what we teach and kind of have people try out is don't put all your eggs into one basket and try that for 3 months and then be like, did it work? Have a few different avenues so you can see which ones you liked, which ones were successful for you. Or if you go back and say, well, I didn't really give that 3rd prong the time of day it deserved. I'm going to add that again this time and see and really kind of put that in the forefront.
Sure.
But still have a couple fallbacks as well.
If you want to try 2 different marketing systems, then you only have 6 months to do it before AEP.
For sure.
Right? So so that's, again, because you're absolutely right. You have to use it. I don't wear a watch for a reason. Because it broke. You have to make sure that you are, again, giving yourself the time, budgeting your time appropriately to know, like, what is working, what's not, what can I try? Because when it comes to AEP, like I mentioned in the slides, this year is going to look so weird. It's an election year, and it's a gross election year where you're going to be getting calls, you're going to be getting... Now, I do know, like, there are a bunch of TPMO rules. Not TPMO, that's us. There are a bunch of... The FCEC won't let me be. A lot of rules.
We were just wrapping that earlier today.
Were you?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's so weird.
We share a brain cell. It was your turn with the brain cell. There is a lot of rules coming and changing around, like how often consumers can be called, updates to their do not call list. However, it is an election year, which means that emails are going to be nuts. Advertising is going to be nuts. People are going to get called left and right. People are going to get, in their mailboxes are going to be busting at the seams. So knowing that this year is going to be really, really hard to stand out, and knowing that it's very likely this AEP is going to be another disruption year. We saw 2024 AEP, tons of disruption in the market, and 2025 is shaping up to be more of the same. So it is really important, like figuring out how are you going to stand out that may not be what you're traditionally used to. What you did last year is probably not going to work this year. Making sure you're trying those out now so that you're confident in your marketing plan going into quarter 4. I sounded so professional
Here,
there.
this is a random question for you.
Okay.
If somebody's trying something new, there's been these tried and true old systems that people worked with. What would be a new marketing system you'd like to see more people try that's out there, successful, but it's just being underutilized?
Let me ask you, are you talking marketing or prospecting? Because those two are not the same thing.
Let's do marketing first.
So marketing, just to clarify what I mean by marketing, is brand building, recognition, relationship. It doesn't help you get business tomorrow, but it does help your brand more valuable and does help you rely less on leads and true prospecting. So my favorite thing about marketing, I love sales. I love the science of sales, but I'm a marketer at heart. I love the science of marketing. The best thing about marketing is that you are limited to a budget. Mm-hmm. That's true, but you're limited to your creativity. So I think what I would love to see this year is more homegrown, agent-driven, true marketing. Less relying on purchasing leads, less relying on branding from carriers and branding from outside sources, and more investment into an agency building their brand and building their relationship within that community. So areas where I think we have to understand that the seniors who we're trying... Am I boring you? I'm sorry.
No. Geo.
Where we have to look at what today's senior looks like, what today's baby boomer looks like, and they're not the rocking chairs. They're not... I mean, they probably are still drinking sweet tea on a front porch.
I have a rocking chair.
But they're doing it on their iPhones. Well, they're not reading the newspaper, yelling at kids to get off their lawn. Well, I will. But they're reading the newspaper on their phones. Right. They're looking at their iPads. So they're ingesting information differently. So I think doing something that appeals to that demographic, which is techie and fun and fidgety, and finding new ways to appeal to them in a way that is still community building. I am an events queen. I love being the center of attention. So doing things like that, but like offering classes. I know Kendra from our office had one, like Tech 101, helping people like doing a class where you're doing with like technology and things like that. Or, utilizing artificial intelligence in a lot of your marketing, things like that. Ultimately, there are no new ideas, but like I was working with an agency that did hosted margarita nights at the senior center and like things like that. It used to be like, hey, let's host a bingo night. Now it's like, let's host a margarita night, right?
You probably get a few more people show up.
You might, maybe. Why not both? Have margaritas and bingo. So just doing things like that to where like it's less reliant on I'm an insurance, and more reliant on like let me build my brand so that I am the obvious choice. Okay. That was a long-winded answer to a short question. That's what I do.
Seminar. Go do something different.
Yeah.
What about...
Nope. Sorry. No.
Come back.
Coming back.
Come back.
Panic! Okay. I'm back.
Okay, so prospecting. What's something you want to see people be out there trying that is something that's a little bit more uncomfy?
Oof. Well, number one, I think... That's hard. Okay, you know me. Again, seminars and doing things like that. My favorite method of prospecting versus marketing. And there's a million different types of seminars you can do. I don't have the time to go into all of them. I'd be here all day and I would love it. But I don't think that's what the people want. True prospecting. I think I am somebody who I really want to see people take a step out of purchasing leads, which is true. Again, prospecting, the difference between prospecting and marketing. Prospecting is how do I get in front of somebody tomorrow? How do I get a quick turnaround? I'm less worried about them building my brand, building my name. I'm less worried about that. I just want an appointment tomorrow.
Right.
I think I am a person who I crave efficiency and I crave again, having systems for that. So I'm not somebody that would, me personally, door knocking, cold calling, things like that, where it's high volume. I'm spending a lot of time not seeing a lot of get back out of that. Right. Though it is low cost, it's not efficient,
Yeah.
right? So if I was going to do something prospecting, I'm really very interested in cultivating my own leads. And I'm that way because we saw some of the new regulations coming out, some of the new rules saying that TPMO is not allowed to pass information from organization to organization, meaning that purchasing leads is about to get a lot more expensive. And in some areas, you're going to see some lead companies bail because they can no longer sell client information like they used to be able to, or beneficiary information. So I am a huge advocate for finding ways to quit purchasing leads and investing that money in cultivating your own leads. I don't think that's through mailers. I don't think that's through cold calling. I think that is finding new and creative ways to provide value via the internet. So this is a long-stemmed way of saying I think internet leads and Facebook leads are the way of the future, that agents need to learn how to cultivate their own, but it's going to have to look different than what's been gone for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's where I would invest my time, my energy, is finding something that you have that's so powerful or so value-based that people are willing to exchange your information more. I will give you my phone number, my email address, my name in exchange for this service or this thing that you have for me. So that's where I would invest my energy.
Love it.
It's very long-worded answer. But I'm talking it out. I'm thinking it as I'm talking it.
I did ask you on the spot randomly.
I'm thinking it as I'm talking it. We got to figure that out. Okay. Again, so trying the new marketing techniques. And then the last one is trying new products. And I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to shut up here. This is your love language.
It is. It's ancillary products, y'all.
You're exactly right.
So this is the first point, certs, carrier comparison, all those things that you're really used to trying. And again, these are things that you need to just be aware of that you're going to have to do every single year. And more so this year on comparing the plans, because all the carriers are going to be changing their plans quite a bit with the new rules with the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to make every MA plan look different. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to hear until they're announcing it, because everyone's keeping it really close to their chest of what is their plans, because it sounds like everyone's going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
So definitely just be ready for your comparison. But what you could be doing in preparation for AEP is getting out of your comfort zone and start talking about those other lines of insurance that you're probably already contracted to sell. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at cancer insurance. I'm sure y'all are shocked. But I'm also looking at hospital indemnity, dental, final expense. The list goes on and on. But you want to pick out one or two of those that you're comfortable with, or that you're really passionate about, which is why I'm always talking about cancer insurance. But find the ones that you're passionate about and make sure your clients feel that same passion, that they understand the importance that you are putting on them, because otherwise they're going to be really comfortable in not having cancer insurance.
That's true.
And I know we talk about with sales, it's not necessarily like scaring someone into knowing that, oh, you really need this because all these extra costs and all, But what it is making sure they understand the risk that's out there and understand the feeling of what it would be like to not have cancer insurance. Or you go to a hospital and you get that large bill because you were there for 4 days and your MA plan wasn't ready to start picking up their part. So like letting them understand not the fear, but the urgency of needing something to protect that. And then one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite people, Colby, is you don't have to have insurance for everything, but you do have to have a plan. Now, that is so important and so impactful to me, because I'm okay if somebody tells me no to, I don't offer products, but like if I'm talking to you guys about what are you guys doing for your hospital indemnity? And if like, well, no, I do this with a different line of insurance that helps cover that. I'm like, fine, we don't need to talk hospital indemnity anymore. You've got a plan in place for that. But that's the kind of flip side of what I want you guys to do with your clients is, we don't have to sign paperwork and do anything with the cancer plan today. But I do want to make sure you have a plan if that day ever comes.
Yeah.
And kind of talking through that with your clients throughout the year is going to make it where when you go back into that appointment, let's say it's Medicare Advantage, and you're going through those evidence of, or summary of benefits, evidence of coverage, and you get to those chemotherapy parts, they're going to have that seed planted like, well, yeah, that is a good percentage. Like maybe we should start talking about that cancer insurance you were letting me know about back in Q2 or back in, clients will talk that way, back in May.
People don't do that. That's not a real people word that we use.
So just kind of making sure that you're discussing those products throughout the year. Another thing we talked about with sending emails about these different things. Just anytime you're talking with the client, make sure they know about these other lines.
And like, don't feel like, well, I talked about them that last time. They don't want to talk about this time. You don't know what's happened in their lives between their last appointment and this appointment. And they probably likely that they don't even remember you asking about it, because purchasing insurance is a day of their life and it's not their focus like it is for you.
That's a really good point. It's just like they honestly don't remember that appointment as well as you will, because you have notes on it. This is what you do for a living every single day. That client just said, I need insurance today. Help me.
Help. Exactly. They don't remember. They don't remember every
Your
single
lineup.
thing. Your lineup of what you did. The important thing is what you can be doing now to prepare for that. I think you're exactly right. Start putting the messaging out there as to where when you do bring it up in their AEP appointment, it's a no-brainer. The expectation is set. But I also want to make sure that you as the agent are comfortable with these products and you've done the research. And by that, I mean you've let us do the research for you and told you what companies are going to be best for your selling style for your clients, what product recommendations, that you're familiar with the EAP, you're familiar with the processes. That way you don't want to try new things. That's what it comes down to. You don't want to try new things in quarter four. You want to make sure you're sticking to what's tried and true, what you're comfortable with, because you don't have the energy available at that time to put towards giving a good shot to those new things. So quarter two is the time for new things, trialing, doing the research on it. Q3 is AEP prep, but a really good time to implement and really good time to kind of solidify those processes so that you're just walking through Q4. I'm going to tell you, I was listening to you that entire time. I did almost ask you how to spell Nickelodeon because I was texting Brian. If you would also like to text me about Nickelodeon, 573-818-2688. That is my cell number. I have motion in my front yard. That's what that notification was. But that is my cell phone number. If you want to reach out to me at any time, that is my cell phone. You can text me at any time. But no, you made some excellent points there. Not that I'm surprised. You've been doing really well. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm verbally abusive. Sometimes I'm a good time. That is what we have today, guys, for Medicare Cafe. What you should be doing to make sure you are successful and just kind of breezing through AEP this year and just making it another day in the office, right?
Yeah. It's just like, let's alleviate some of those pain points during AEP now by getting prep, by getting everything in place, by planting the different little sales seeds. CLCs.
That's what we were talking a lot about. Like, again, there's a bunch of companies that are announcing. I say a bunch of companies. One company in particular is announcing their expansion. That is devoted Medicare Advantage, coming in hot in a lot of different states right now. And the biggest question that agents are asking are like, why? I mean, like, we have a link that is like, if you want to get signed up with them, you don't have to do anything until closer to June when their certifications come out. And the question is like, well, I'll worry about it in June. No, you won't have time. And again, this year is going to be the year of change. Is going to be a follow-up year of more change, more radical movement within the Medicare Advantage world. So knowing that, again, you may not have the luxury of trying new carriers, researching opportunities come June, because you're going to be knee-deep in certifications, knee-deep in reviewing what the big boys like United Healthcare, Humana, reviewing what they have coming out, that you better do a lot of these activities during Q2, during this prep season.
And I won't lie to the audience. I played devil's advocate on this and said, like, okay, but why are we worrying about an MA carrier now?
Mm-hmm.
And
a new MA carrier.
Yeah,
it was
because everything's going to change so drastically in quarter three. You won't have time to even consider them. And with them being such a growing product, growing carrier, I should say, you don't want to miss out at the same time.
So true.
The market share is going to keep growing, especially with different carriers like this. It shifts every year. So if you just say, I'm not going to worry about that one, your competition might be saying, well, I'm worrying about it because it's a new shiny thing.
It's new and shiny.
So definitely something to consider to kind of keep getting that information. Anything you could do to get info early and often, I think, is another thing. Just get it done now.
Just get it done now.
Just start looking at these things prior, because you won't have time. And you know it. It's every single year. You're like, okay, yeah, no, I can definitely take care of those certs early in quarter three.
You won't do it. I know you, Brian. Any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, please, you can put them in the chat or text me if you are Terry, being just another
Terry?
example why my favorite human. I have a client who works for Nickelodeon. Terry, check on them. Are they okay? How? No, I'm going to stop. Very cool, Terry.
It's very cool. Just hopefully they're all right.
check on your Nickelodeon friends. For anybody who's watched that documentary, which I have. And my childhood is broken.
Yep.
For a lot of reasons. It's just being...
I think we watched that one the same weekend.
Yeah, well, I know we did because I used your HBO account.
You were ahead of me.
I know we used the
We were
same.
texting about it. It's been like, are you here yet? Oh, no.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It gets worse.
It's so bad. We don't have to talk about that today, though.
Nope.
That's a different podcast. I would like... No, Olivia. Nope. Okay.
So I'll follow up with nope.
Nope. But any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? Terry.
Reminds me of the meeting. Clayton, no.
There was quite literally a meeting that we were in. It was beginning of the year. It was one that I knew was going to get a little heated. And to Clayton's credit, he said, "Hey, will you?" He texted me ahead of time and said, "If I'm being a lot, just in general, please let's come up with like a that's a safe word." Speaking of Nickelodeon, let's talk about
No.
Give me like a sign that like I need to calm down. And I said, Clayton, that's not gonna be necessary. We're all adults here. You'll be fine. What ended up happening? Me looking at Clayton, then he says, no. And he goes, okay.
Noted. Got it. Dropped it.
So, okay.
Yep. We need to go.
I need to go before I get canceled. Until next time, guys, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service.
Give impeccable service. I was laughing.